Do you want to? We can talk about anxiety and that type of shit.
Mike doesn't understand anxiety.
No, I told you. See,
It's
how well he listens.
It's not
to
a
me.
black people thing.
It's definitely a black people thing, more so. But no, I told him the last 2 years was probably the first time where I was like, something's wrong.
There you go. That's a good starting point. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Tell us your experience with anxiety, Michael.
Are we starting now?
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, well, God damn it, you some bitch. Well, no, because, you know,
It's hot on the brain because we were just talking about it.
Oh, okay.
So
well, no,
it'll get
basically,
the juices flowing.
what happened with me was simply my job. Like, I had a job that was making significantly more than I was making, almost basically double, and it was just going up. Like, I was probably the first time in my life, I'm like, oh, I'm God damn it, I'm about to touch 6 figures. I'm about to really be doing good. I'm kicking ass at this job. It's stressful, but boom, COVID hits. I don't know if you remember, but I was managing a courier service, then became region manager, all these other titles in the mean shit. But we delivered to nursing homes and hospitals and hospice, mainly nursing homes. Well, COVID, nobody was bringing their relatives to the nursing homes. That slows the money down. And I work for a pharmacy. Well, if they're not pumping out the medicine, then yeah, they can refill some stuff, but it's not the same. Right. You know, they benefit on people coming in, being brought in, because when a person comes in, they need their whole thing. So you might take $10,000 or more just for this one person because they're brand new. So I'm coming from a situation before where I was contracting and it was, you know, up and down, whatever. I even worked with him, and that wasn't really that great for me. So it's like I finally found something like, oh, okay, this is decent money. I can use this in the future, whatever. So after basically about 3 years, it just all falls to shit. You know, they lose the contract because now they can't afford us and they're wanting us to work for damn near free. And so my company that I work for, like, look, they were initially telling me, oh, we're good. We're just going to renegotiate. And they're like, yeah, it might screw the drivers over. And it's the first time I was like, what about the manager? You know what I'm saying? They were like, you should be okay. Went from you should be okay to kind of tense to, so they gave us our last day, and it's going to be July. It was July 5th.
Oh, wow.
Of 2020. Mind you, 2 months earlier, my wife had got laid off. I was telling her, hey, don't even front. We're about to have this extra thing come in. Because even in that happening, we were supposed to get this other pharmacy, which would have increased my pay significantly as well. I would have been able to get like an extra assistant, another assistant manager. I would have been able to get a bunch more people. It would have been just, I wouldn't even have to do anything. I would literally just like be at home or work from home, or if they needed me in the office, I'd be in the office. And I'm like, baby, don't even worry about it. Things are great. Things are pretty fucking awesome right now. You can go ahead. And she wants to go to school for something. And then 2 months later, I'm like, baby, I got like a month left and whatever. So luckily, the government at the time was throwing money at people on unemployment, but I was a 1099 contractor, so I didn't get any of that.
Right.
I just saved up a good amount of money because I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, I want to save up a year. See if I can save up a year.
Right.
I had got 6 months. I'm like, perfect. She took out some money from a 401k. Normally, I would not have done that, but she did. And when I tell you we ran through that shit so quick and nothing popped off the way I thought, I'm like, oh, I got this managerial experience. Even if not, I can drive myself. There's decent money, and blah blah blah. My wife, I'm like, oh, she's fine. They're throwing money in it, but then they kept saying, oh, we're gonna take it away. Oh, we're gonna give it to you. Oh, we're gonna take it away. So she's worried. She takes a job that pays her less because she's worried about just not having a job and not getting unemployment.
Right.
So now she has a job that's paying less than what she was making, which puts more of a struggle on me. So now I'm like, okay, well, let me try to find something. I'm not finding anything that was paying me the same. Then I end up going to Amazon. I was working at part-time. I'm doing Instacart. I'm doing DoorDash. I'm doing all this other. I'm doing a company called Shipt. I'm doing all these things. Like, I have, like, if you look on paper, like 4 jobs. But in reality, I'm working them when I want, you know what I'm saying? Even though I'm working them 6 or 7 days sometimes. And it was because, again, And it wasn't like I was like, oh man, I'm a millionaire, and I went back down to like 1,000, and it was just like, man, I'm doing good, and oh shit, and it was just like, usually I'm like, oh, you know what, not a problem, I can shake this off, whatever. And it was the first time where it was like, I got acid reflux a lot lately, and it's like, I know I have it, I already have it,
Yeah.
I'm like, but it's just constant, and it's like, there's some shit I don't think I was talking to you about. Because I'm just like, nothing's wrong. I'm straight. I'm like, maybe I'm staying up too late. Maybe I'm whatever. You know,
feel like
I'm
heart palpitations.
Yeah. I'm feeling weird. I'm like, I'm stressing out a little bit more. Like I'm like, I don't normally dream, but I'm dreaming. I'm dream stressing, which is weird. Like I'm dreaming about bad shit. And I'm like, then when I'm awake, I just got that fucking overwhelming feeling of
You're
like,
just noticing odd feelings.
oh man,
that
it's just like the roof's caving in. Like, all right. Like, I'm already, it's basically like I'm under the roof holding it up, and I'm like, I'm about to give out sooner or later here. I feel it. Something has to change. Something has to go. But again, I'm just like, oh, we're just broke again. That's all it is. We're just broke again. I was like, but it was more because it was like, now I believe mine was more situational than some people. But that's just what's happening. It was just like, feeling this feeling. I can't fucking shake it. And it's like, even the job I have now, I still get it because I was like, I'm on a transportation team for Amazon, blah, blah, whatever. I'm going into my own thing now. I realize that's what I want to do. But it's like, I had gotten their job and they're paying, they're like 30,000 off from what I was making. But it's still, it's decent money. Like if I was 24, 25, I would love this.
right, yeah.
I was like, but I'm fucking 35, and this shit is not cutting it. I'm sorry if I spit on it. I apologize.
Nah, you're pretty far. You're later here.
But it was funny because I'm like I'm at work and I'm like, I'm happy, and then I get my check and I'm like, okay, guys, you said this is going to be more.
Yeah.
Like I understand taxes and everything because I had to do my own taxes before, so you just get the whole check and then you divvy it up. Either you want to do 6 months, 3 months, whatever.
Right.
But it's like this one. I'm like, hey, this is like when I was working doing Instacart and doing you guys part time. Like, this doesn't seem to be what you said it was going to be.
It sucks when you feel like you've taken steps back in life.
Sir,
when you fight so
listen.
hard to get to a certain point, and now here you are.
That job that I was telling you about, 7 days a week, day and night. He'll tell you. I used to be here, and I'd be like, hold on a second. And I'm fucking just sending shit out. I'm emailing, I'm calling, I'm doing stuff. Matter of fact, it used to take initially, before I had hired more people, like we would do this like every few months if we could, when we first started, because it was like I could not get time. So I'm like, I am busting my ass. I am killing myself. But the money's decent, and I see the light. I'm like, oh, there's something. And I was like, oh, and they kept that carrot right there dangling. I'm like, oh, I'm about to get you son of a bitch. I got you. It's coming. And then that fucking rug was like, watch out. And I fell on my face, and I'm like, and it's funny. It was like I'm doing the push-up to get up, and somebody put the boot up. Wait a second. You remember that money you thought you had? It's slowly running out. And when I tell you that was a scary feeling, because it was like, all right. Well, I got 6 months. 6 months. We took a couple months off because I had been working like crazy. She had some money, I had some money. Like I said, they were giving money to stimulus it. I'm like, God damn, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But then rent, bills, and because nothing's changed. I just don't have the job I have anymore.
Right.
But
When the money ain't coming in, you still got bills. It's crazy when you're talking about a mortgage, $300 electricity bill, gas, car payments. The shit just goes.
It does not stop. So I just watched. I remember I was down to like my last, I think it was $1,500, a couple $1,000, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta pay rent. See, I'm still renting. So I'm like,
you start thinking illegal shit. Like,
listen, sir, I talked to some people who I know. I'm like, look, that PPP shit. Now, I knew people who I don't know anybody, but I heard about people who were getting 40, 50, 60, 80, 100,000.
Oh, I know people personally.
I went and did mine, and it was only going to be for like, I'm gonna say $12,000 or $15,000, right? Nothing crazy, and it was legit. I'm like, hey, I filled in all the correct paperwork, gave them everything they needed. I didn't do it until like the last 2 months. They waited until after the 2 months were up to look at my whatever. Because they're like, oh, man, you need to put it in early. It takes about however long. I'm like, no, I'll do it. I didn't want to do it, and I finally did it because I was like, I don't want to pay him back. So then, like I said, they just show, oh, you qualify for this much. I'm like, shit, yeah, that'll be a little bit of breathing room. They send me a fucking letter like, oh, we didn't get to your stuff until the due date, until after the due date. I'm like, but that
should be based. It should be based off when you submitted it.
Thank you, sir. 2 months early. They're like, but we didn't get to it until after the due date. So unfortunately, I'm like, hold on.
That sounds like a you problem.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what does that got to do with me? You told me to put it in. So I called, and everybody saying the same thing. Hey, out of money.
That's a loophole.
Out of money. Oh, yeah. There you go. And basically, what I heard was, oh, you thought you were about to be? Go fuck yourself. Like, yeah, oh, no, here's another foot on your back. You thought you were getting up, nah, fuck yourself. So
that sucks.
It was just weird because it was like, and like I said, I never had really the issue. You get anxious, but I never had anxiety in, say, all of 21, most of this year until I finally decided, like, okay, I'm going to do my own thing. And I was like, me with the plan to do my own thing and setting it up has actually given me more joy, and because I'm like, okay, now I got another goal, but I know this is obtainable. I've been watching how this is going, whatever. I'm like, this, and plus it's gonna be on me. I don't have to worry about, because I think I might have told him, but my main thing is like, I'm tired of people taking shit from me. Like at my last job, it was like, I felt it was taken away from me. There's nothing I can do. Like, I could work 7 days a week all day long. Sorry, man. I was like, That's not, I felt the same way, because it was like, hey, I want to try and move up. Like, this guy over here really isn't doing much, and I feel like I can do this better. I was like, I'm already doing it better, even though I have whatever the set thing is. Like, and everybody said, yeah, you should do it. And I'm like, there was a guy he knows, a guy named Adam. He was in charge. I'm like, hey, man, can we do this? And he's like, yeah, we'll look at it. I'm like, hold on. I got kids and shit. I cannot wait for you to decide to look. I need something now. And the only reason why I was upset, because somebody else went in there who honestly did less work than I was doing. And no shame to him, but it's like, but he asked for like just more money. Give it to him right there. He didn't have to beg. He didn't have to, one conversation, give it to him. And he was not, as I feel, as important to his side as he thought he was. Now, he was useful, but it was honestly extra, because he didn't even do some things. He was like, I'm not doing this. I don't want to do certain things. So it was like, and then before that, it was like, I'm on contract, and contract's in. So somebody's taking, it was like, so I just kept feeling that. I'm like I remember I told my wife, like, I'm getting mad. I'm like, people keep fucking taking shit from me. And, but, because I know Steve had told me about, stuff he takes and whatever. And it was like, I was actually on the verge of like, because normally he was like, hey man, I'm like, nah, I don't fuck with that. I'm like, but I was about to say, Steve, man, I might have to smoke some weed or something. And I don't smoke. I'm like, and I don't drink like that. He'll tell you, look, I'm fucking.
It could become so unbearable that you're willing to try anything at that point.
And it was getting to that point, and like, I sat down, I wrote this business plan out for what I'm trying to do now, and that's what's calmed me down, because I'm like, okay, boom, I see what I'm trying to do. I just need this, and this, and things are falling in line. And I'm like, okay, I'm starting to feel happy again. But man, for the last, because I would say the rest of 2020 was okay, but that's where all the money went. So all of 21 and most of this year, I'm just like, this does not feel good. Like, I do not like this. So that was my little experience. I always downplay my shit because I don't think it was bad as anyone else.
One thing I've had anxiety and panic attacks now going on, I'm going to say 7 years now.
Oh, wow.
And one thing I've learned about anxiety, and obviously we'll talk about it. There are so many different forms of anxiety, and like what causes panic attacks and stuff. And one thing that I found, one of the worst, most discouraging things about, at least in my experience, about developing anxiety, once it breaks you, you may potentially be stuck with it for life. It may come and go. You may have good times, But then sometimes even when things are fine, it still comes back and bites you in the ass. It's like once it happens, and before I had anxiety or panic or anything like that, I was one of the people, I would have been the first one to be ignorant and say, oh, it's all in your head. Just get over it. You know what I mean? Just think about something else. It's just all in your head. You know, it ain't no big deal until it happened to me, until I'm randomly feeling like you said about the indigestion and the reflux and stuff like that. And then the heart palpitations and the pressure on your chest we were talking about outside. It'll hit me out of nowhere. I don't have that, like what I refer to as like mental anxiety where like I'm actually worried or concerned about something. It randomly hits me. It's some sort of subconscious issue that I may have, that I could be sitting here watching a movie perfectly fine, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh man, like why am I starting to feel like this like tenseness in my chest, and I feel like my heart's starting to like race a little bit.
Chris
and
told me about that type
yeah
stuff.
and I just and next thing I know I'm getting up, I'm pacing around, I'm like you just feel like you're ready to like panic. You feel like
take anything? I'm sorry.
I take Ativan, which is just
helps you sleep.
it's a spur of the moment medication. It's not something that like, I don't know what Steve's on, but it's probably something that you're supposed to stay on. You take it every day.
No.
Are you supposed to though? Like, can you?
So I take clonazepam, and you can build a very fast tolerance to it. So typically don't take it every day. It's also kind of like alcohol. So like I look at it as little chips, little coins, right? So like if you to like control anxiety, not have anxiety, is you got like this, like you're at a casino, right? And you're playing these little slot machines, right? If you put keep putting coins in the eat healthy slot machine, like you're eating high omega-3 foods, fatty acids, you're eating vegetables, you're eating whole foods, and then like next to it you have like the shit food one, like, oh, I'm eating chips, I'm eating french fries, I'm eating fried food, I'm eating like trans fats, I'm eating saturated fats, like all the bad things. Like that's another machine. Then you have like the middle machine, it's like the alcohol machine. You like put chips into that, and then you have like the workout machine over here, right? And then you have like the me time machine and like family time next to that. So you have like all these machines, and then you could put a work machine on there too. But it's like the chips, and you only have so many to spend, which is kind of like your time and like your maximal effort is all of the chips. So like you sit there and like put chips into like one thing because you're focused, and like it's kind of like, you remember like a Gigapet or like a Tamagotchi where you had to feed that fucker or it would die. It's kind of like that, where you got to keep feeding all of the machines, because if you don't feed the machines, that machine will deteriorate. So like and it's funny because people always tell you like, oh, it's all about the diet machine. Like in my mind, that there's actually like a sense of a good thing of eating junk food as a reward system. So like I don't ever cut junk food out completely anymore, and I've done it before, but like it actually does a lot for like serotonin levels in your body, and like giving you like a reward system versus doing it all the time. It's funny, I was like talking to a dude about jerking off. It's like, if you do nothing but watch porn 4 times a day and beat off all the time, you're just like, I don't want to do anything. Like I'm tired of shit. Like I don't feel like doing. I don't want to move. Like, but if you don't, you know what I mean? Until you're like, oh my God, I'm about to hump a monkey. Then you're like, all right, blammo. I should probably go, and you're like, oh, I feel so much better now. Like, my head's clear again, and I'm not sitting there like,
I remember
I need it. An
old guy told me, he was like, look, before you go on the date, especially with chicken.
Oh yeah, because if not,
get it out of there. He was like, you're gonna fuck it. He's like, I guarantee you're gonna mess up what you want to say.
Because you're gonna be trying this to.
He said, don't let it take you home. He's like, you're gonna be so goddamn excited. I was like,
you'll embarrass yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, oh, I swear it never happens.
He's just so pretty.
Yeah, but I'm saying is like you got to figure out where to put the chips and balance it out. And like healthy food does have a lot to do with it. Like that whole saying, garbage in, garbage out. If you're eating like shit, you're going to feel like shit. And that the way stress works in your body and cortisol levels is directly affected to that. Part of the way that you combat that is working out. That's why people are like, how do you deal with it? Like if I don't work out, I'm like, fuck shit. Like now on the opposite side, if I'm like getting into it and I work out too much, I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck shit. I can't sleep. And then another thing is sleep. Like if you're having nightmares and bad dreams, that's a sign of your body stressed. If you're having nightmares, bad dreams, and you wake up and your jaw hurts, that's a sign of like stress tension.
Oh,
because you're just sitting there gritting your teeth while you're sleeping, right?
Nah, luckily I don't do that.
So like you got to get the consistent sleep, and then that could be another coin box. Like you got to put the time in for the sleep. Like that's why I skipped the gym this week because my stress levels were going through the roof and I could feel it. So like, and I've had anxiety since my fighting days. Even when I was younger, I was pretty much always an introvert. I didn't become an extrovert until I was forced to because of going into waiting tables to the point where I came up with, I've been researching this since I was in my 20s, early 20s. But I found something where guys were talking about holding your breath.
Oh, yeah.
And even the way like Marine snipers holding their breath when they take the shot. The reason you do that is it helps slow your heart rate and steadies you. So what I would do is I have also situational anxiety. So I'd pick up a martini and I'd be so afraid of dropping the martini that I would fucking like you should watch me play Operation. It's a joke. I'm like, don't touch it. You know what I mean? It's stupid. But so like what I would do is I wouldn't look at it and I would hold my breath to the point of walking to the table. And by the time I got up to the table, I'd be all but passed out.
And
I could go and pass it off gentle as fuck because my body was so focused on Control Alt Delete. You're gonna pass out. Don't pass out. Don't pass out. That I wouldn't even think about this transition. But if I was like breathing normal and not focusing my attention on something else at that moment in time, I'd be like, and it sucked and I couldn't control it. That's how it kind of started for me, and then it sort of evolved into like, you know, because then I turned into like sales. I started working at Fast, and I was like, oh, I gotta talk to people. I don't like talking to people. But I had a stepping stone was waiting tables, bartending. So it was like, okay, I had a segue. And then each time of life, I added one more layer on of having to have more serious conversations. To now today, where sometimes it's like sitting down with the CEO of a company, and you're like, this dude's way fucking smarter than me. How am I going to have this conversation? You're just sitting there, and you're like, okay. And I have the perfect cocktail. I take 2 Adderall, a Klonopin, I go to the bar, I have 2 drinks, and then I go to the meeting.
That does not sound good at
So
all.
self-medicated.
That does not sound good at all.
Listen, it's not like you do it every day, but when you have, and that's the point I'm trying to say, though, with self-medicating and medication. There's certain parts of the things you can control. Like, prime example is I have situational anxiety. So, like, if you put me in a crowd of 100 people and I have to make a speech, I'll go out there. I could have everything memorized, and I'll blur up. I can't see. My vision will go away.
Really?
My throat will close, and I'll be like, get water. And it's funny because I was talking to that cop at the gym about it. He's like, dude, I got the same thing. I was like, I've known like 2 other people my entire life who's had the exact same problem. I was like, you do anything for it? He's like, beta blockers. I was like, I take beta blockers too.
What does that do?
It's basically blood pressure medicine. So what happens is, and this is why I had struggled with MMA, is because what happens is your body, when you get anxiety, your body's going into fight or flight mode. You're like, right? It even happens when you know, your wife will say a key word to you that will instantly piss you the fuck off. And mine is my wife will go, hey, babe.
You already know she's about to actually do some shit.
She's about to ask me to do some shit that I don't want to do.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking instantly, I went from 0, I'm having a good time, to through the roof, and I'm like,
But it goes like this. What?
But trust me, I'm like, yeah. But
Yeah, or that.
On the side. Like,
sometimes I was like, do you want a piece of cake? And I'm like, God damn, you fucking asshole. Just come up with a new fucking word. You know, like
She like set you up.
I know, yeah.
She totally like
But
lit the fuse.
My point is exactly. So like when that fuse is lit, you elevate. So that's like flight or flight response, right? But when you go into like it's kind of like Joe Rogan has that bit about like DMT and like if that tiger attacks you, he's like, what if that tiger comes over the cage and attacks you? He's like, you know, he does all the sound effects, and then it just pushes at you, and all of a sudden, shit, you know, your whole life like just collides into a kaleidoscope, and you see all kinds of colors and shit. You don't even know what's happening. Like that kind of happens in the situation anxiety because you when you raise up to a level, you're heightened, right? And then when you go into like a there's even a level past that where you just get an adrenaline dump. And when adrenaline dump hits, that's when you shake and you can't control your body. So then your throat will close and your eyes will get blurry because your body's telling you, get out. Like turn around, walk off the stage, run. Get away from the stage, leave the building.
You're sweating shit.
Oh my God. Pits are fucking, you look disgusting. But if I take a beta blocker, it blocks the receptors from where that the adrenaline is trying to connect to. So it can't go anywhere. So you still might have anxiety so you can combat with the other things, but you won't get this crazy awkwardness where you just like freeze up.
I was going to say, I've
and look
never
like
had
a
that.
moron. Oh, it's the worst.
I've mixed my words up. Like, I'm like, all right, cool.
Well, that's just Joe Biden. I mean, you're good there.
I'm going to say the ambulance, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, the parambulance, God damn it. Start again. The amcam, God damn it. Like, I tell him for the longest, amicably. Am I saying it right?
That's a tough one. You know what happens when you fuck it up? Then I can't say it right. I'm like,
you watch somebody else.
Me
and my wife would go. I'm like, baby, say this word for me, and she'll be like, amicably, and I'm like, okay, cool, amicably, and that shit would happen like 50 times. I'm like, fuck it, it's good, it's peace, something. I was like, and I'm like, God damn it, I know I can say damn near any word. Why the fuck can I say this word? And that's one word this fucks me up. So it's like. But I've had it happen when I've given speeches or had to give a speech and I'm like, just mess up that word. But I did learn a couple things, but I also don't have, I won't say the issue, but I don't have it to the extent that you do or have it. Or maybe I did have it and I just don't know. Or maybe it might fucking hit me. Because it's like, because the funny thing about it is like when things are going too good, I constantly am waiting for the shoe to drop. Like if I'm having a good time or something like that, like I remember I went out with my family.
You got to be careful doing that though, because anxiety, you set that fuse off. You could be perfectly fine. You think about it, and boom, it's gonna come.
That's what I'm saying. So, me and my family did this a few years ago. We went to was it Delaware? Was it Rehoboth Beach? Whatever. Rehoboth. But I think it's not too far away from Ocean City. One of them,
right down the street.
Yeah. So we were going to Ocean City every day. That was the whole thing. It was an Ocean City trip. It was supposed to be quick. It wasn't supposed to be as much money. Whatever. But we're having a great time at the beach. We're doing things, buying stuff. The kids loving it, whatever. And I'm laughing, I'm joking, and in the back of my mind, it's like somebody might fuck with you. You might have to fight today. I'm like, what? What? It's like what? I'm like what? And then from there on, I'm just eyeballing all the guys. Like, who the fuck is gonna say something? Who the fuck? And it's not even like I want. It's like somebody's gonna fuck up this fun. Like I can't let that happen. I can't let them fuck up this fun. And it's funny. And it's like,
I'm sorry, I gotta interrupt you. Is this your family and kids? Your wife and kids?
Yeah.
I've experienced something similar now that I'm like,
the
dad. Like I feel like this is
it's like your pride.
I'm the bear, and these are my cub and my.
Even your wife, even my wife, she might give me shit. She might not listen to me, but I know in a situation where like that, it's instantly. Whoever's in front of me and who's related to me or whatever, get behind me. Get behind me. I don't care if they have 20 guns. I will soak up all the bullets. You just have to get away.
It's an instinct, yeah.
And it's like, and it's crazy because it's like, but my problem is like.
See, I would do the opposite. I'd take my wife and be like, stand right here. You're not going to make it. I know you're not going to make it.
Like,
I can run fast with him. You're going to trip and fall right there, and all three of you dead. Okay, I got to save this little guy right here.
Listen, I'm telling you, man, and I've had this.
Baby, I love you.
If anything I've ever stressed about is that. It's like I told him almost every week of my son's life, I have thought about him dying and my wife dying. Every single week, I have to push that feeling down because I literally, and it's funny because I tell people, I haven't cried. Like I cried when my son was born. Before then, and that time before that, I cried at a baby's funeral. I cried at a 3-year-old's funeral.
I was watching. What?
No, I said I cried at a 3-year-old's funeral, and you started laughing. I was like,
No.
Yeah, well, that's
I
pretty
know
fucked. That's a bad. That's a bad.
well, that's what I'm saying.
situation.
So it's like a 3-year-old funeral, and then my son's born.
Damn.
Like, and that's like a 10-year span. And then after that, I hadn't. But what I don't tell people is that I'm almost on the verge of making myself cry, almost anywhere from 1 to 4 or 5 times a week, where it's like I just think of the worst shit
Yeah.
that can happen to my wife and to my son, or even to my mom. I just think about losing people, and it's like, what the fuck is wrong with
Have
me?
you ever seen the movie Allied
Sounds familiar.
with Brad Pitt and the chick from Inception? She's like the bad lady in Inception.
Shit, I can't remember. I remember the gist of Inception. I remember Tom Hardy and.
No, Tom Hardy's in Inception, but this is
I only remember
Allied.
some
Tom
people.
Hardy's not in it, but it's basically like Brad Pitt is like a World War II spy. He goes back into like this in Africa, I think, or something like that, and he goes into like assassinate somebody, and this is like a French connection that's like a spy as well, and they're supposed to like meet up and blah blah blah, and kill this person, make this attack go down. So they do it, and he's like, come back to. He's actually from Canada. I think he's Canadian, but he's stationed in England. He's like, come back, be my wife. She goes with him. They raise a family, blah blah, and then like shit's starting to get out, and this is like while they're bombing London, all this stuff getting out, and they're like, hey, we think your wife's a German spy. And he's like, starts going crazy. He's like, can't be like, so he starts like, he flies back to Paris to find this one guy who knows about the lady who she says she is. And the dude's like, ask her to play the piano. And he goes back and he's like, he gets pissed. He's like throwing stuff. He takes her to the bar, like finds a pub. He's like, play this song for me that you played for all these like English troops and blah, blah, blah. And she sits down and she's like, and she pulls the thing down and it turns out she was a German spy. And you're like, oh shit. And like, he loves her. They are actually in love. She's not setting him up. She's just kind of like under this Nazi regime where like people were in the town are like seeds. And they're like, if you don't keep doing this, getting info from him, we're going to kill you, your wife and kids. Yeah. And I was just like, so he's like, we got to get out of here. So they make a dive for it, right? And they go and kill all the seeds, and then they go to the runway because he's a pilot. They get to the end, and the baby's in the car. I don't know. I might. Dude.
It's a movie. Just remember, it's a movie.
It's a real story, though. It's based on a true story.
Oh, shit. Okay.
He's trying to get the plane started, and it's raining. And it's like, and you see like the military people coming to arrest him because they found out now, and they're going to kill him too because he's committing treason for not killing his wife. Because they told her, you have to kill her.
That sounds
and he's sitting there, and all of a sudden she puts the baby in the back seat, puts a fucking gun to her head and blows. And I was like, see, I bawled for like 20 minutes. I was like, oh my God, I can't imagine that happening. I was like, I'm like getting a little.
Yeah,
sandwich chest. But
dude,
I'm saying it's stupid.
Yourself.
I'm watching movies like that with sad, soppy endings where one of the parents died or the kid died or this, that, and other. And I'm like,
can't do that
I
anymore.
can't do that. What are you talking about, dude? Oh, that fucked me up.
3 movies I cannot watch anymore. Now, they are going to be black related because obviously I'm black. Pursuit of Happiness. I know. Pursuit of Happiness, John Q, and a movie called
John Q.
I can't watch that anymore. Best Man. And it was funny is I remember I saw John Q with my dad in the theater, and it's funny because like
your dad was like, kill that little ass bitch.
No, he was on the verge of crying. My cousin, now mind you, I saw this. I think it was like I was 12, 13, something like that.
Yeah.
I'm on the verge of tears, and my cousin, who's 2 years older than me, he's on the verge of tears. And it's funny because I'm trying to hide like, God damn it, give him the heart, some bitch. And then I'm looking over and I'm like, and their eyes all glassy. I'm like, oh, okay. And it's like, but still, I'm like, nah, because I can see them, my eye itch, shit like my eye itches or whatever. But it's funny because it was like the one that gets me, that broke me and I didn't expect it. It's a movie called Best Man Holiday, and you don't have to watch the movie all the way through. You just have to watch this one scene. And basically, what happens is he's a football player. His wife is sick. They have 3 kids. Their playoff game, while he's doing the best he can or whatever, the playoff game, he's like scoring a touchdown, and she's literally like, hey, and like fading away. Ooh. So by the time he gets off the field, he's got to rush straight to the hospital. He's, big, strong guy. So, but he doesn't cry. So he doesn't cry the whole time. He's like, I got to take care of the kids, and people are helping him, all his friends, whatever. So what ends up happening is they get to the funeral, and like you said, I gotta watch myself for a second. They get to the funeral for his wife. Kids go away, somebody helps him, and he's just standing there. And one of his friends, they see him just standing there. And what broke me was like, you see it happen like slowly. Like they show like the angle from his hand up to his face, and you see his hand start to shake. And then you see his arms, and then he just fucking breaks down. But the way it happened was like you could see he was fighting it.
Yeah, trying to be strong.
And his body gave up, and that fucking hand shaking, and then it goes up, and he just falls, and he collapses into the other guy's arm. He's like, "Why did shit?" Oh, I can't even talk about the shit.
Mean,
but that's what I'm saying. It's like that shit right there. Like there's certain movies I just cannot watch anymore. I can't watch movies about. Did you ever see? It's a movie with Brad Pitt. Somebody else. They're going to get their ex. They were at like a boarding school. It's a movie about Brad Pitt, some other guys. They all go back to this boarding school because one of the counselors, whatever, I think they're kidnapping and they're going to kill him, whatever. But in between the movie, they show that back in the day, these guys were fucking beating them and raping them and laughing and having a good time while they were at this boys' school. It's a fucked up movie. Because they in some scenes, they just give the image of like, yo, something bad just happened because they fade away. This one, they're like kind of showing like pump. I'm like, oh,
too much.
God. But I remember my wife not made me watch this movie, but she told me about it. And she was like, I was so fucking mad at the guys. And, but I remember that movie. I was like, I can't watch that movie. It's just certain things I cannot watch anymore. And like I said, those 3 movies, if I want to cry, I just put it on or jump to that scene. I'm just gonna fucking cry. Like right there, talking about it made me.
I think those movies that are meant to like trigger emotion,
Oh.
like you gotta like certain people if they don't have any sort of real emotional response to that, you need to be concerned.
Yeah, exactly
about those people because like
fucking serial killers.
Yeah, like natural human emotion to feel the movie, to like feel like it's personally affecting you like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. If someone ain't affected like that, because it's perfectly normal. It's okay to cry a little bit, tear up maybe a little. But
I've always tried not to cry because they were like, oh. When I was a little kid, they were like, "Oh, you're a crybaby. Oh, you crying with blah blah." So I was like, "Fuck that, I ain't crying no more. Fuck y'all." But man, let me tell you, like I said, those 3 movies and a certain scene, like I said, the handshake on that one, John Q, where his son is like in the hospital bed, and she's like, she's on the phone. She's like, "You need to do something now," and he's like, "I am going to." She's like, "Can you do something?" And she screams at him, "You need to do something," or whatever. And then all this shit's about to give his heart up, all that. And then in Pursuit of Happiness, it's the end where he kind of claps it up a little bit when he finally gets the job. And then the part where they're in the bathroom. I don't know if you remember. The part where he's in the bathroom, and which is the fun, to me, is the weirdest, funniest thing to me.
I hate that movie.
I was like, because he was holding the door and he's crying and something. I was like, son of a bitch. I need someone to sleep, you son of a bitch. And it's like, leave him alone. Just go shit somewhere else. It's a goddamn train station bathroom. It's piss. And then I was like, ew, they on a nasty, pissy ass bathroom floor. I've been in a train station bathroom. Trust me, I'm a shitting son of a bitch. I had to use bathroom everywhere, and they're nasty. But like I said, just certain movies I cannot watch. Like whatever you're talking about would fuck me up too.
I hate that movie. Pursuit of Happiness.
But
it's so sad.
I tell you, but when I had my son, that's where it was like the first time I felt like those emotions coming back, like wanting to cry. Because it was like, I remember I saw holding my son. I'm like, and they're like, oh shit, I'm about to show my wife. I'm like, baby, he's so goddamn beautiful.
Those are weird emotions though, man, because you're not sad.
No, I'm
it's
happy
just, it's an emotional overload that like you are just reacting, and that's just the response.
But see, the funny thing about it is, I was in the midst of talking normally, and then I just started crying. That's why I said, "Oh, baby, he looks so beautiful. He's so beautiful." And I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" Like, I've never felt this a day in my life. I was like, but it was just funny because it was like, "All right, now my emotions like, nah, you can't fight this one, bitch. We're out of here." And I said, "All right, you can have it." I'm like, and my mom was there, and I'm like, "No, he's beautiful."
No, I remember feeling, that same way and being like, being like emotional and being like, holy shit, I have a child. I have a son. Like, what the fuck,
It actually, I had it initially, and then I kind of lost it because it was like, I think I was scared.
Oh yeah, fear
like
takes it.
I would
Instant
just
fear.
I would just there, and I'm like, I can't be here, and I would walk out. I would go like, that's
Oh, you're talking about in when being born? Or you're talking about just in watching them sleep?
no, like post coming home,
Oh,
like
yeah.
when it became reality. Like there's now like stuff everywhere, and you got like.
life is officially different
Yeah,
than what it was a few days ago.
Exactly.
And I was like, I can't. I'm losing control. Like, you know what I mean? So I had to like, I hid in the garage for like fucking 2 months.
In a dark corner. There's no light.
I did. Not to say like I'm proud of it, but I was like, I can't deal with this right now because like this. Part of the problem though too was when I hear, even now when I hear him cry, it's like, because it's not like at that stage it's not like a whiny, I want this.
No.
It's like a real
I was like, hey,
cry.
somebody help me. My fucking
Right.
life is expensive. I'm hungry and I don't think I'll ever eat
right.
again.
So when I would sit there, I'm like, I can't hear this. Like it would play on like heartstrings that I'm not used to, so I'd be like, and like I can't do shit. I'm just sitting there like, get a paper towel. So I was like, I gotta go. Like it would
Here's some apple juice.
go back to anxiety. It would take me from like a 0 to a 15, and I'm like, nope, I can't, and it sucked. Now I'm like used to it. Now it's like development. Like
It's
now
all
it's
right.
like fucking holding him and like make my day.
Listen, I used to get mad at my son when something like, it's weird because I would get mad at him when he got sick, but it wasn't I was mad at him. It was mad because I couldn't do nothing. Like
Right.
there's no medicine to get.
Right.
I can't do. And the doctor's like, "Oh, you just
couldn't
gotta let
stop.
it."
Right.
And like, you just gotta let it happen. I'm like, "Fuck that! What the fuck you mean? This is my son. God damn it! Why are you sick?" And I'm getting mad. It's like I'm getting mad at everything, and I'm kind of getting mad at him. I'm like, "Stop being sick. Why are you crying? I can't help you." And it's like that helplessness, and I'm like, "Fuck!" I was like, I finally realized this because I felt helpless, but it was a situation because it's like I'm getting mad at everything. I'm like, "Stop it! Just be better." Oh, never mind. It was like, that's me fucking up. I was like, it's my stupid shit. Also, is it because you said your son's 9?
Yeah,
How old are you?
36.
Okay, so you were significantly older than I was. I mean, not significantly, but I'm definitely older. And how old are you, Steve? 33? 32?
I'll be 35 this year.
God damn, really?
I'll be 35 in 2 months.
Oh, you made it seem like it's about to be like 7 hours and 6
5,
minutes. Yeah,
4, 3.
Guys, it's my birthday. I didn't want to tell you anything.